Hello, I'm ibxtoycat, and this is my console edition size Nether that I am slowly but surely building in my Minecraft Bedrock world. It is going to be it's just ridiculous the size of this thing, but slowly we are adding to it and we're making a huge thing. Today is going to be just a small little addition to this. I was going to not stream, but I figured, let's come in for an hour and let's hang out and have a little bit of discussion late at night for once. So, hello, I'm ibxtoycat, and this is the late night chill hour. Maybe you enjoy that. And so, the most important thing I think we need to discuss today is the fact that, obviously, Minecraft is, in fact, a game that I think is good. This is a controversial opinion I've had for a while, but someone needs to say it. Minecraft is actually a solid game. Do you ever like, hear some people talk about, games that they love? And it's like, man, all you do is you constantly complain. It sounds like you don't even enjoy it. And it's one of the weird things that one of the best ways to show that you're a fan of something in some communities is to be like, yeah, here's a list of all the things I hate, because some communities are much more formed around, hatred than love. But I do think in the case of Minecraft, it's a very valid thing to say, no, yeah, this is a wonderful game. It does, obviously lots of things can be better, but to say that you don't like it feels a little bit ridiculous. Also, hello, I'm ibxtoycat. You are not crazy. I am live right now, and I am going to be placing a lot of netherrack, which is wonderful because it gives me an opportunity to say, hello everyone, how are you doing? Is everyone doing wonderful? Let me say in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how is your evening going? I feel like that is the important thing before anything else starts. You having a good evening? I've been having a good evening. I do feel like sometimes evenings have this like kind of tendency to kind of dip off. Oh wow, we got some 10s by the way. I feel like evenings have a tendency to be like really easily defined, and then like you kind of mess things up later. That's why you gotta have a little bit of a chill hour. Also, it's not a bad morning, says Claudia. You know what? You have to be different. Being in Australia, mixing up all the time zones everywhere. But yeah, it's nice to see some 10s. It's a lot of 7.5s. Just a single 0 from a decoy with 3. Also, it's going great. Thanks for asking. I'm glad you're doing well. I had a realization recently that I think I sometimes start these streams like a little bit too hectically and quickly, when honestly, if you want to have a chill time, it's important to like start nice and, the most important, imagine a movie made up only of the most intense action shots. Imagine having a conversation, but instead of it being exclusively, instead of the conversation naturally flowing, every 5 seconds you're like, so, by the way, I've had this thought, what if aliens are real and they're hiding below the surface? What if some of your best friends are aliens and they don't know about it? It's like, man, I enjoy when you talk about aliens sometimes, but you gotta probably stop right now. Anyway, so, I don't know, my standards may be high, but 6.5 for that. I think if your standards are high, 10 out of 10, my cat is purring in my bed. That is a high quality evening right there. I feel like, honestly, having high standards is a good thing. If you have high standards for the quality of your evening, that means that your evenings go so well normally. Unless you've got high standards and you never meet them, I think having high standards sounds like a great thing. If that leads you to better outcomes, you should feel no shame about it whatsoever. And again, if you're not meeting those standards, you should actually feel a lot of shame about it, but a whole different point there. 5 out of 10, I've been going through Legos, and 30% of it's literally trash, not even Lego, but I'm getting paid for it, says Ninja. Honestly, add getting paid to anything bad, all of a sudden it gets a lot better. Like, imagine if it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna break my elbow today. That sounds like a bad day. If it's, I'm gonna break my elbow, and someone's gonna pay out $100,000 on the lawsuit, all of a sudden I might be down with that. How do we know Mojang doesn't employ aliens to make Minecraft? I feel like they must do. There is no way there are not aliens on the Minecraft team. I've been thinking about this a little bit. Like, when Minecraft switched from being, at least when my Minecraft switched from being developed by a single game studio in Scotland to being developed by a couple of game studios, one in Redmond, Washington, the United States, and one in Sweden, it started to feel in so many ways like the game is literally being developed by people who don't know like what video games are, and it took me a while to like work out like how could that be. There are all sorts of things that go missing where it's like, but if you play Minecraft, this wouldn't be confusing. Is there something wrong there? And I think what it is there are, like, you know, my poor level recognition on this is that some people who work for Minecraft are aliens who do a really good job at pretending like they're not aliens. They're like, yeah, so here's the scoop. I know how this new feature works, and it's sploogle-doogle-doogle-doogle. And then everyone's like, oh man, this guy sure is weird, but I don't want to seem culturally insensitive and call him out or anything. So I'll just say, yeah, man, if you don't want to do your work, that's fine. We can, you know, if you mess up that line on the changelog, it's all good. Also, stop pretending we all know it's run by Badgerman. The conspiracy theories about Badgerman being a part of Mojang are absolutely fascinating to me. They are beyond fascinating to me. But does he run it? Is Roger Badgerman an alien himself? I think Minecraft is huge and diverse. I think we get to expose people who have a very different view to the game than what we're used to. I think the most interesting thing about Minecraft hiring so many people and being like, okay, so this is the biggest difference about hiring people who live in, like, okay, to my mind, if you are hiring people in a very competitive city, you almost don't get to hire people based on how much they love something. You have to hire them based on how good they are at this stated goal, right? If there's 100,000 software programmers in a city, hiring them based on who likes Minecraft the most would literally be irresponsible. That would be, it might seem like a poor decision. Whereas when you hire from a smaller market one by one, being able to actually individually hire people and be like, oh yeah, do you like block games? Do you like free roam? Whatever. I feel like there's a bit of a difference there. The Minecraft team of humans, the Microsoft executives are aliens. That's the crazy thing about, I feel like any executive class of people, is they have to think so differently to average day-to-day people. It's almost best if everyone thought of them as aliens. Because if you start to think about a C-suite as like real humans, you're like, but how did you approve this decision? Whereas if we start to think of it as like, it's the faceless monsters, then everything gets a bit easier. Anyway, I think that you should let AI make you do a building project. You know, I've considered that for a little bit, actually. Like, have AI, like, guide me the entire way. The wildest thing about Badgerman is he went from hosting small Minecraft Legends leaks to literal vanilla Minecraft updates. Yeah, that was the craziest thing. I still don't even know how that could have possibly leaked, right? Like, the fact that it was random Legends stuff and then it grew either means that he got increasing access by being, you know, like, further up the ladder, or somehow he went from finding, like, oh yeah, this weird thing about this game, to like, oh god, I have one of the most valuable pieces of information out there. Because, you know, some leaks are really simple. It's like, yeah, someone at Mojang tells people to sign an NDA, and then someone doesn't follow the NDA. But sometimes it's like that. It's like, I don't think anyone was meant to know that. No one outside the studio should have known those things. And so how did it leak? Who knows for sure. AI's been one of my favorite things recently, using it to help me out with a ton of work. Yeah, okay, AI is a game changer. Like, I know it's crazy that, like, now robots rule the world. Don't get me wrong, a little bit of a bummer to me. That, like, it would be nice if everyone was human still. I agree, Sharon Smith. But, you know, I don't agree, Sharon Smith. You know, Sharon Smith, you're on my side. But the number of things that are made infinitely easier. Like, writing a formal email, if it's not a skill set you have, but you know what you want to do, you can now tell a machine to do it. There are like two parts of doing a hard task. One of the hard parts of the task is genuinely knowing what to do. This is one of the weird things that, like, I feel like it separates a lot of people who are like high in their field from people who aren't. If you want to be a really good, I don't know, anything, you need to be incredibly good at knowing what it is that you actually do and what it is you think you do. The difference is usually quite huge. Like, you know, if you think about basically any job, like being a YouTuber, so many people, the reason it's the most popular career is people are like, yeah, you get paid to play games. It's like, no. If you play the games, you don't make money. It's like, well, you record yourself playing the games, but that obviously, if you don't forget to hit record, you get, and it's like, no. You get paid to be interesting in some way so that people want to watch you play the games. That is a much harder task. Knowing what that is very difficult. Also, turn on programmer art after you're finished and see how amazing all the netherrack looks. That is actually an exciting idea, I do agree. Also, I'm having a 10 out of 10 day. My divorce is being finalized. Hey, congratulations on the divorce. More people should say that. I feel like it's not the done thing to be like, hey, yeah, congratulations. Like, clearly a divorce is a happy time. A divorce is unhappy. I think some people might say, like, well, what about divorces where one party doesn't want it and the other does? if someone desperately wants to be out for marriage with you, would you be excited to keep them in marriage? You know, like, that doesn't sound fun. So, congratulations. I hope you have many more divorces if that is what you want. In the same way, like, you couldn't say to someone like, oh yeah, I'm really saddened by your loss. I hear you went out to eat last night and you got dessert. So tragic. You know, I know that you've you might think to yourself today like, man, that sucked. But it's like, no, you had dessert. It was delicious. Sure, you know, maybe you have to take a few more steps at some point in your week or something like that. But, you know, dessert itself is not a bad thing. Dessert is actually a very good thing. Speaking of very good things, good to see you, Darren Hughes. How are you doing today? Why is there water in your console-sized Nether? Make it go away. So yeah, today I think we'll finish up the land, and then that means the next episode is going to be covering this in lava. It's going to be a real fun little twist of a thing we're going to have to do. It's going to be nice. What block are you going to use for the console? Bedrock, outer shell of the Nether. Maybe Blackstone, Deep Slate combo look cool. I figured I'd use netherrack. That's what I've gone with so far. I admit that Bedrock, like going for like a Deep Slate might have been better now that I see it. But I think after we build the ceiling, we can give that like a true test. But yeah, that's the plan. Also, you deserve dessert. Thank you, Dasher. I would love to deserve dessert. Congrats on the divorces, Zeta. No, yeah, exactly. I think that's something more people should say. Congratulations on getting divorced. I hope that you are never in a marriage. Is it rude to say failing marriage? You know, I hope you're never in a marriage that you don't want to be in again, or that both of you don't want to be in again. I hope all of your marriages are voluntary from now on, unless you specifically don't like voluntary marriages, in which case, you know, I hope you do you. Also, another week about the update that gives cherry saplings to wandering traders. The good news is it means we're almost guaranteed to get it next Tuesday. That's exciting, right? I think that's exciting. But yeah, I think will you be building the Nether ceiling too? Yeah, that is genuinely the plan. I am a little torn at how high to build the ceiling. I think 128 would make sense. But if we actually like look up here, we're all the way at like 96 already. So 128 might feel kind of low. We've got only another 27 blocks. So we'll have to see how we feel about that one. We'll have to see. How are you this energetic at this time of the night, you mad lad? I think, energy is a weird one, right? Energy is a thing you can create basically anytime you want to. Should you be creating energy at any time of the day? Very different question. But yeah, you know, maybe that's one of those things about like, yeah, if you think being a YouTuber is this, but sometimes it's a bit more like this. I think, actually being a YouTuber is being able to like turn on like there's an energy you have in a really good conversation. You kind of need to be doing that all the time, right? Like, I think in a natural flow of conversation, things go up, things go down. You know, it has a natural ebbs and flows, and it's all the sorts of things. But in a internet conversation, because this is parasocial, you're seeing this in one direction. I think that changes things a little bit. That like I need to basically create and match your level of energy. And so, you know, that means that sometimes you got to be a little bit energetic. You're going to be like, hey, I did a cool thing tonight. I went out and I got Cold Stone Creamery. I went to this ice cream idea is revolutionary, at least in the UK. Get this right. They mix the toppings into the ice cream. They're called toppings, but they're not just on top of your ice cream. They're inside the ice cream. It's so cool. It's incredible. It changes the game, I tell you. And to be able to talk about that and not be like, yeah, so went out for ice cream today. Was good. Like, I think being able to say that, like, if you're streaming for 15 hours every day, you need to like experience every human emotion at some point in there, I assume, for that to make any sense. But otherwise, you kind of just need to. Oh man, we just pick up so much weird garbage. That's the strange thing about this. Okay, so we'll put the cactus in there as well. We picked up 33 cactuses. I'm gonna have to do something fun with that. Did you know in the next Bedrock update they're updating the pause menu to game menu? Does this mean no pausing coming? I think. Okay, that's one of the things I mean about when I'm talking about Bedrock. There are so many huge limitations like that on Bedrock that have been looked at time and time again by people who like could change them, and people are like, yep, we are just gonna do nothing about that. And it feels like a lot of people don't even know, like, oh yeah, this is what pausing should do. Also, Nether roof equals 96 meters above the Nether lava table. That's an interesting way to view it, Fusion Warrior. We could, like, I think you could either go, you can measure from the lava, you can measure from the walls. It's an interesting thing that we could go for both. Also, thank you for the first tip of the day. Hope you're doing wonderfully. Also, Logan, hey Toycat, hope you're doing well and glad I was able to catch the stream. These chill on the Let's Play World streams are my favorite. Thank you, Logan. I appreciate it a lot. Honestly, can I level with you? They're my favorite to do too, but they do they do create this trap of like I do believe the streams that will catch the most viewers is when I'm starting on a brand new world, doing a new challenge, or even doing a challenge in the existing world. But there's like the chill streams are, you know, it's like I don't know what's the term, like it's red meat. It's really great for people who already like what they're seeing, but it doesn't attract new people. And so that's an example of like what being a YouTuber is working out that like if you only appeal to people who have subscribed to you, slowly your subscribers die or stop watching YouTube, or honestly stop finding the same things interesting. You can make the best content every single day of the week, but it doesn't matter. Someone's gonna be like, yeah, I just don't like Minecraft videos anymore. I used to watch, you know, like you know, stuff like that happens all the time. So you continually have this like cycle. In the same way, you couldn't run an ice cream restaurant by saying, yeah, the same people who bought ice cream today will just buy ice cream every day for the rest of their life. It's just not a viable business model, right? So it's the same sort of idea. Anyway, I had a large ice cream from Sonic with Butterfinger and Oreos after work today. Man, that sounds good, Tyler Kowalskis. I love, you know, I'm a fast food aficionado. So America is one of the best places in the world if you want to feed yourself quickly and you want to get 3,000 calories in while you're doing it. And so, yeah, it's nuts. Also, your subscribers die unsubscribing. You know, not people who aren't subscribed, statistically die at much quicker rate. Like, statistically, 99.9% of all deaths happen to non-Toycat subscribers. So I'd watch out on that non-subscription. Sadly, I can't stay long, but I hope you have a good stream. Good night, friends. Also, you can apply that to Minecraft. Features like the camel and sniffer really aren't needed for existing players, but they do attract new players. Yeah, I think that's the reason why every update, Mojang adds a cute mob that has nothing to the game. It has zero intrigue to, like, you know, realistically, how many of you are using a camel right now in a long-term survival world? None. Whereas the things that do affect long-term survival worlds, like adding copper or amethyst geodes, maybe lush caves, you could argue, you know, there are huge changes. These are the things that new players look at and go, why would I care about that? There's a new block, but it's only found rarely under the world. Okay, then. And so, but, you know, conversely, you can't do the opposite, though. You can't only care about new players or newcomers. And so finding that balance is genuinely one of the hard things about every business, maybe. But yeah, and calling YouTube a business is a bit of a weird one, but it is a little bit, you know, it has advertising, it has all these other things. So, yeah, what flavor of ice cream is Toycat? I think that, you know, if I was being nice to myself, I'd be like, yeah, I am a tasty flavor of ice cream. I am a cheesecake and brownie pieces ice cream. I think if I'm being really realistic with you, I'm like I'm a mint, not choc chip. I'm like a mint with chili bits in there. You know, like there's an interesting flavor. It's something that people really can like when they go for. But every now and then you've got this real unexpected thing there where you're like, I guess this is a part of it too. And to everyone who likes the mint chili chip streams, thank you. I appreciate you being around. So, yeah, I want to use this moment to quickly ask something, chat, because I try to be fairly open about like how various business things work. I've mentioned before the whole silly thing that happens of like, you know, Raid Shadow Legends will come literally every month. Raid Shadow Legends gives me another offer, and then like, you know, I go through there and they're like, yeah, you need to say all these things. It's like, I won't say things that I don't believe to be true, and that, you know, I can't like, you know, like you can't make me say stuff like that. There's a list of rules on how we do things, and so it's in my opinion that's the only realistic way to be, like, to either be able to say like, yes, this is me reading off a script, or to be able to say or to be able to say things I genuinely really believe. I love there are some sponsors that are so much more fun to work with than others. Anyway, so I tried a bar of jalapeno chocolate and it was delicious. Yeah, that's totally true. Also, good to see you, Caitlin Smith. Here for the mint chili chop content, says Katie Rubino. Hey, thank you. I'm glad you're all here for it. So one of the kind of like tricky business decisions that I made a while back was to do with Amazon. Amazon affiliate links are one of the one of the best companies to partner with because everyone uses Amazon. Some people are like, oh yeah, I don't believe in Amazon because something. You know, there's a lot of valid reasons, don't get me wrong. But like a lot of people don't like it. But I think it's one of those companies that genuinely everyone uses that to the end consumer provides a lot of value. Like imagine if Minecraft, every time you played it, literally a dolphin in real life was, you know, like hit to death with a club. I think that you would be able to say that playing Minecraft is unethical if you knew for a fact that for every single player of the game, a dolphin was being beat to death with a club, right? There is a debate over whether you should play Minecraft, but also you wouldn't be able to argue that Minecraft is a bad game, just that it is unethical to play, right? At the stretch. And you might even argue that maybe those dolphins enjoy being beat to death with a club. Like I'm not a dolphin expert. I don't know what they do and don't like. I'm not gonna try and comment on that. But what I am gonna say is also, thank you, Dazed and Confused says, down for another stream featuring Raid if that helps you financially.
Raid Shadow Legends Avoidance Payment. I don't believe in Amazon something.
Do you believe in Amazon something? I bet you do. I bet you don't believe in Amazon something. I hope I said that enough negatives that it sounds both correct and not correct. But yeah, so one of the companies that I stopped working with, not because I even like I do believe everyone loves it, but just because it was a pain for international viewers, was actually Amazon. Amazon, it used to be that you have to have a link for every single country. So if I was mentioning something on Amazon, be like, oh yeah, you might want to check this out. So like, for instance, you get paid a certain amount every time someone signs up for Prime Video or for a Prime, even like just for the free trial. And so it's like, yeah, you can support a channel by getting a free trial at blank. And so the annoying thing though is I'd have to link it in each individual country. So I'd use the US and the UK, but anyone from outside those places, like I didn't have an affiliate program in Canada or Sweden or wherever. And so it was a whole pain, like, to be totally honest with you. But that is something they have fixed since I stopped using the Amazon affiliate program. And so I want to do a test for you, chat. If you live in somewhere that has an Amazon in your country, if you don't have it, I would still like to know. But I'm mostly curious. Can you click the link in my, wait, let me check it's actually in there. Can you check the link in my stream description? Because I use Elgato equipment to stream. And so I figured, like, if anyone's curious about where I get my stream gear from or what I use, it is all Elgato stuff from Amazon. Can you click that link and tell me if it loads up in your local Amazon store? Obviously, just, you know, it is an affiliate link. I would get paid if you get something. So, like, you know, like, I have a financial incentive to say this. But I'm being very clear on that. But I would like to also just, like, you know, for curiosity reasons, I would like to know if it goes to your country's page, or if it doesn't, which country page it goes to. Also, Silver Phoenix, been watching since 2013. Love you, Toycat. That is 10 years, man. That is crazy. That is too many years. Oh, whoa, there's a Guardian here. Chat, why is there a Guardian in the Nether? That is the more confusing thing. Amazon has a clinic now, I guess, says James Weston. Amazon has a clinic now? I heard Amazon's trying to get into healthcare. See, this is my favorite thing. Is if you take, okay, so there's a lot of reasons you can demonize big companies. Like, I think I mentioned this when I'm talking about Walmart recently. Like, everyone hates Walmart, but then everyone shops at Walmart anyway. Everyone hates a lot of things that they end up using anyway. Also, works for me, USA. I'm in Austin, and it says something went wrong. Is there Amazon in Australia? Digging truths? I would love to know. It sounds like a silly question. You know, actually, you know, let's find out. Amazon.com.au. There is an Amazon in Australia. Today I learned. Ah, that's fun. Okay, so if it doesn't work, that's interesting to learn. So works for me, UK. Ost has Amazon. The link Cat gave didn't work though. Oh, that is interesting. Cat gave a link. Oh, yeah, the Amazon. Oh, so yeah, Cat gave a specifically UK link. Oh, yeah, right, Cat. I'll have to find you a updated version of that link if you want it, so that way it can do the same thing. So basically, yeah, Amazon has a service set up where if you put your links in, you can then make it so it goes to the right version of the store for everyone looking at it. And I hope that I set that up correctly now. It works. Damn it, says Cat. I'll set it up. I'll set it up. Thank you for linking it, by the way. It's for what it's worth. Someone did buy my book, and I got not only the commission, not only the cut for them buying the book, but also the the 5% cut or whatever for them buying it with the affiliate link. I made $1 on the book, made 5 cents on the referring someone to buy the book. I'm basically a millionaire, well, that's what I'm saying. Also, diligently, I clicked the link. It didn't work for me for some mysterious reason. What do you mean by it didn't work, though? That's my curiosity. Also, thank you, Deshi, for confirming it works in the UK. Yeah, I live in Norway, don't have Amazon. Link got me to the US site. There we go. I'm curious to hear about those cases. Because I would have guessed there is Amazon in Sweden, Roger. Do you know why there's Amazon in Sweden and not Norway? Feels like an arbitrary place to draw the line. But, yeah, I want this book, says Ryan. Wait, you don't want the book. It's all good. But I want to know, what are you gonna do with all that water? I'm gonna cover it in lava. I'm gonna place lava on top of it. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. This takes me back to the Netherrack mountain stream. Yeah, funnily enough, similar vibes, right? It's kind of crazy if you think about just how much Netherrack I have picked up in this world and moved somewhere else. Okay, so if anyone lives in Spain, oh man, if you live in Spain or Sweden, you should be asleep. Maybe, I'm sorry, if you live in Spain or Sweden, I'm sorry about your life changes. In France, but it takes me to the US website. See, that is interesting to know. Thank you, Levo. Do you live in mainland France? Do you have an Amazon? Like, how does that work? I'd love to troubleshoot it. So, chat, just search for Andrew Toycat and Amazon. There you go. That's how you do it. But yeah, so I think anytime like I reference something like that, I think it just makes sense to be like, oh yeah, here's a affiliate link. I don't have any interest in what you're buying there. Whatever it is that you get, the only interest is whatever you get. There is a small thing, but also I can recommend a product and be like, yeah, this is one that I actually use. I think that's the best way to set up incentive systems, is just to be like, yes. Technically, I could have an incentive in being like, yes, my favorite things you buy are Rolex watches on Amazon. Please buy one on Amazon so I get my, what would 5% of $10,000 be? Like $500 commission. Jesus, gotta start selling those, right? But I also think it's a whole thing I think setting up incentives so they align is the most important thing in life. Like, you ever, I don't know, like everyone knows that if you have someone that you, like everyone knows the famous tale in India of they had a problem with rats. So they said, okay, we will give everyone, we're going to give everyone I don't know what amount of money it was. It was a large amount of money in exchange for bringing us the tail of a rat to show that it's dead, because that's the only way to get it. Or maybe it was like a skinned rat or something. And so what people started doing is breeding rats, and they started breeding snakes to catch the rats. But then they stopped the bounty because they realized people were breeding them. So people let the snakes loose, and now there was a snake problem. And it's like, you can, and also all the rats got loose. So it's like, very, very quickly you can get the wrong incentive system that creates everyone to, like you get what you measure for. If you measure people, and a good example of this is survey scores. Have you ever had like a car salesman or a tradesperson be like, oh yeah, can you rate me 5 stars when you're done with this? That's because reviews reviews make and break so many businesses, and so many businesses treat anything that isn't a perfect, 5 out of 5 or 10 out of 10 as just a basic failure. So it's like, please man, you just gotta give me the thing. Also, Toycat, gotta go to bed, something offspring. Thank you for being around till 1 AM. Massive appreciation. But yeah, I stopped using Amazon directly on my account because Prime ran out. Honestly, I recently used Amazon without Prime, and it's actually surprisingly good still. I'm like shocked by just how little you need Prime. Also, wait, Deshi, if you needed to, obviously, if you really wanted to get your hands on an Amazon Prime, did you know you can get a free trial using the link down below? And if you do so, your boy Toycat makes a few quid on it. Yeah, just on the trial. That's the craziest thing to me, is like Amazon is so convinced that when people download the trial for Amazon, or for Prime or Prime Video, that they're gonna love it. That they're like, yeah, we can just give you like a few quid on every single sign up, and it still mathematically works out for us. It's a wild, wild thing. Dearest Toycat, I need some inspiration for something to do with my survival well. Do you have any ideas for me? Toycat is love, Toycat is life. Closest regards, I'm a box. Thank you for the letter format. This will go right after I'm Welsh and all the other fun chat things as a way to show, like, yeah, I am a human being who watches these live streams and I enjoy them a lot. But yeah, I think to answer your question, if you're looking for ideas, I have quite a few things on the channel about it. But just off the top of my head right now, I think you should build an overworld inside. No, build a Nether inside of your end. There's so much space there. Build something ridiculous. Build whatever your favorite biome is inside of the end. It doesn't have to be the Nether, actually. I'm just in the Nether right now. I was inspired by that. It will look really interesting, I bet. Also, there's so many random blocks like this that are just kind of like need to be filled in here and there. It's important to do, but also it's easy to miss. So now we go for these blocks over here and these blocks over here. I don't even know if these extra ones around the rim are that important, but we're just making sure we cover our bases. And just like that, we have ourselves... Actually, maybe this could be a lava pit that goes lower down. Because we could actually sponge this out quite easily and then dig down and... There's a few options. If you hate yourself and need build ideas, cover an biome in ancient debris. Yeah, if you're ever just fully out of build ideas, the ancient debris biome is the one that will keep you busy the longest. That is 100% true. But yeah, I think I want to just make the final reference point here that if you are watching this, thank you for being here, and also for being, I guess, like a chill audience. There are some people who are very, very averse to like the idea of like, oh man, do the people I watch want to make money? That's messed up. It should be all about the passion of the game. And I've always hated that, because being able to do things for passion and not money is something you need to have money to be able to do, right? And it's like, it's a nice dream. It's funny, the only things that can afford to lose money are things that have a lot of money behind them. That's every single like big tech company basically works by saying we can afford to lose $100 billion before we make any, so we can invest in expanding massively. Like a normal business, a normal business has to, like, you know, you keep going, you sell enough plates of food that you eventually have enough money to save up to buy a second restaurant, and now you make twice as much, you know, money in profit per night, so eventually you can afford to buy a third restaurant, and then 20 years have passed and you've got 4 whole restaurants. But if you think about it, if each of those restaurants were such a good idea, you could have bought all 4 of them to begin with, and you'd have made the money to buy 4 restaurants sooner. Because if a restaurant makes $1,000 in profit a day, and, you know, if 4 restaurants costs, you know, like $250,000 each, then waiting for one restaurant to then double your money to get a third restaurant to triple your money to quadruple it, you buy it all at the same time. So like investing is like a way of doing that, is to say you take someone else's money, you use it to grow massively, and then you pay back the money. And funnily enough, a friend of mine is in that exact predicament. You know, I think it's a surprisingly common predicament. Everyone wants to be... Like, if you think about it, who doesn't want to follow a passion over following money? Like, things that pay money inherently are things that are valuable to other people more than they are valuable to you. You can't make money from something unless it's more valuable to other people than it is to you, or you wouldn't sell it. If your labor is so valuable to you, you would not sell it to someone else. You value the money more than you value your labor. In the same way, if you're selling, like if you think about like a kebab shop, they value that money more than they value the kebabs. If they thought the kebabs were so good that they shouldn't be sold for £7, they wouldn't sell those kebabs. But they believe the kebab has less than £7 value to them, but more than £7 value to you. And so, inherently, if you're saying that you are going to do things that make money, you are saying you are doing things that are not the optimal use, not the way you would use it from scratch, but instead the things that allow you to do other things you want to do, because you can use that surplus value to buy surplus value from someone else. And so who isn't in a situation where they have to, where they would like to like do some form of passion project? Indeed, being able to be like, yeah, here is the greatest thing in life, I just need a bit of money to do it. It's kind of where everyone is all the time. You know, people have different levels of what they actually want. Some people are like, yeah, I gotta grind away at this job so I can get a holiday. Some people are like, I gotta grind away at this job so I can afford to keep a roof over my head and have electricity. But the idea is all fundamentally the same. Also, the random glowing areas of Realmsbug being around is a little annoying, but it's handy in moments like this where it allows me to keep placing at night, because it looks like it's basically daytime still. Fulfillment is harder earned and even harder realized by the person being fulfilled. Money greases the wheel of commerce. When you make money from your passion, then life is grand. Yeah, even then though, if you think about it, no one ever makes money from their true passion. They make money from things that are really close to their passion. If I made a channel where I got paid to review kebabs, kebabs are my true passion in life. Even then, my true passion is eating kebabs, not necessarily reviewing them. You always find the square of the circle where the thing that you do, the thing that you want to do, meets the, you know, like the realistic way that you get paid for it. In the same way that, like, if you really like to help people, you know, the most effective way to help people would be walking around the streets and kind of picking people up. That is my dream job. Like, is to every day just go out on the street and be like, how could I make the world a slightly better place? I think I'd get like real fulfillment from deciding each day what that is. Like, you know, some people might be like, help the homeless people. Some people might be like, yeah, maybe, like, it'd be nice if you could like walk house to house, be like, do you have any problems today? I'd love to help with them. I don't know if I'd trust someone who came to my house saying that. But imagine if you could trust someone who just came to your door and said, yeah, I'd love to help you with a problem. If at the end of it, you just say something nice to me and you say the world is a better place, that'd be good. I'd love to do that. Also, you reckon he's gonna sell me a cherry sapling yet, chat? Or do you reckon I'm gonna work a little bit harder for that? Almost everyone would prefer to do something different, right? So, Kat, are you still doing ratings of worlds? And how do I give you a download? It's usually via realms. It's called Realm Review. It's funny that it's called Realm Review and people are still like, I just don't know how to get a world to you. Like, do I send you the download? Do I mail you a copy of it? I had a giant container of water just around here somewhere. I'm so thirsty. One sec. Don't ask how I lost it or why it's in a different room. Water is so good, by the way. Absolute 10 out of 10. Fluid. Would consume again. But yeah, everyone would prefer to do something than what they're doing in some way, right? Because the moment that you add a commercial transaction, you are admitting that this is more valuable to someone else than you. And I don't think that's a bad thing. It's a very natural thing. But it also is something that you probably just have to admit. It's also, we have picked up so many odd things, but we just gotta keep on going with it, okay? Gotta keep on going. Do you mind if I do this idea in a Let's Play, says Forgotten? Says Hans Loy Peeps, you are totally free to do it. Just mail him your computer or console for round review. Yeah, if you just mail me your Xbox, that's what people used to do back in the day, actually. They used to have to send each other's, like, Xboxes around, or memory cards. It was an insane system. But yeah, for someone involved in a lot of house fires, you sure do enjoy water. You know, you spend a little bit too long. The UK has been like a house fire this last week. It's been terrible. Everywhere you go, especially getting on the tube. Maybe, I don't know if that's something you relate to there, Dashi, but just everywhere you go, it's like, man, I want to be somewhere where it doesn't hurt to be alive. It's nice to get back to that. But yeah, so the basic idea of like scaling businesses is like you need to convince someone to give you their money so you can spend that so you can eventually have the money to pay them back. The basic like principle of that is that, you know, money now is worth slightly more than money later, but if you don't need money now, you can get more money later by making that exchange. And then someone else is like, actually, I need the money now, and I'll pay you more money later because I can use the money now to make it. I sometimes kind of think that, like, every generation is kind of like a Ponzi scheme built on the idea of exploiting something about the future and assuming that keeps on going. So everyone uses everyone uses house prices as an example of this. The only reason house prices can go up is because people in the future will pay more for those houses under the promise that eventually people will pay them more for those houses over and over and over again. But I think it works for all sorts of things. Like the whole valuation of Uber is based on the idea that we are going to continuously pay more and more and more for, you know, like, it's based on the idea that they raise so much money because people are going to want to use Uber forever, and Uber takes a 30% cut on every taxi ride in the world. That's big business. And it's an interesting point when you really dive down to it, that, like, every value-creating business is actually, like, how much value can we take from something that exists? And so it seems like it's like unsustainable growth, because how many businesses out there are willing to just lose 30% of their customers? Like, you know, like all delivery places, and there's a lot of examples of it where you think maybe they might. But ultimately, like, there's a physical limit you're going to hit at some point. Also, I think we've now officially done, I could be wrong about this assertion here, but I think we've now done all of the blocks down here. We're going to fly around and just confirm. There's a few missing here and there, which I guess we have to fill in. But otherwise, we're doing pretty great, huh? And now we just have to build this wall up to continue to match that one. And then, yeah, that means the lava ocean is the next big frontier. Oh, actually, wait, that cove? I'm kind of torn about whether it needs to have more, actually. So yeah, we'll just build around here. Have it be wonderful. So, Kate Rubino is enjoying Dash's jokes. I like that. I like, at least Dash's jokes in chat are a solid part of the live stream. Also, hey Toycat, I made a resource pack making ocelots called ibxtoycat. That's very fun. A little bit basic. Also, learning economics of you at 2 AM is amazing. I sometimes worry I dive too deep into economics. It's the most interesting thing about the world to me, though. Like, money works in a really, really, really complicated way. And we're almost, like, encouraged not to understand it. But also, the entire motivation system of the world runs on top of, like, things that are confusing. That's a bit of a weird one to me. Like, why, you know, if the reason that we do most things in our life is for economic gain or benefit, shouldn't we all be pretty aware of how the system works? Doesn't that sound like a good idea to you? 'Cause it sounds like a good idea to me. Happy 37th birthday, Toycat, says Rayview. You know, I hope I have a happy 49th birthday too. But yeah, what about the Neverwalk Valley, says A2 the Super. Yeah, I was thinking, so some of this terrain obviously could do real well by being made into a, like lava lakes could make sense for some of this. I think some of this is going to have to be a Neverwalk Valley. You can't just have this much lava. So that's the way I'm going to really take advantage of the console exclusive. You should include the Legacy console exclusive biome, the Neverwalk Valley, says A2. Yeah, that is the plan. I think the beauty of this is that it kind of started as a netherrack dump, but I do have a lot of soft sand I need to get rid of too, so that sounds real good. Do you plan to put all the biomes in the Nether, or is it going to be old Nether Fiend? It is going to be console-style Nether, so precisely 2 biomes. The one console biome everyone knows about, and the one console biome not everyone knows about. Neverwalk Valley sounds sus, to be honest. Hope you're doing well, Rounders, by the way. It sounded like you weren't doing so well the last time you came up to a stream, but I hope things are going great right now. But yeah, speaking of things going well, money is terrifying, so I don't have any. I'm scared. That, you know, that's the thing about money, right? It's really, really, really cool. But when you don't have it, it's the exact opposite. It's, you know, you ever watch a movie about time where everyone, like, pays for things using time? And it's like, oh, the rich people have all this time and they're young, whereas, you know, like, people living in the slums have, like, no time left. It's real rough. I think about it quite a lot, because when you turn money into, like, any other resource, everything gets so much, like, easier to visualize. Even if you make money into anything tangible feeling, the whole economic system becomes so much more interesting to look at. Like imagine if for every pound you had, for every dollar you had a fish. Imagine like, oh yeah, man, it sure is rough. You have so much fish, you have to deal with like managing the fish. Where does it all go? You have a big fish warehouse somewhere, maybe? I don't know. Also, speaking of console edition, you ever wonder how caves and cliffs would have worked on it? With great difficulty, I imagine. That is the wild thing, in my opinion, about, you know, that is the caves and cliffs thing, I guess, in my opinion. Basically, every console edition update was requiring more and more resources from a fixed piece of hardware, and somehow they made it work. Like, what is that called? Like, squeezing blood from a stone? Like, being able to take a fixed system, but still get more and more efficiency out of it every time. Absolutely wild that that could happen. If you want this Nether to be authentic, you can hide random lava. You know, that would be the truest, most authentic version of the Nether, wouldn't it? Okay, before we leave here, by the way, I'm going to make sure we do get these few blocks here. There's only a few of them, but I think they add just a little bit, you know, they take away a surprising amount from the Nether. So just take the blocks. When we see them, we cover them up. We could also make the little... okay, so we'll kill these guys too. Sorry, just don't want you alive anymore. Just replace any easily seen pieces of sand. Then I think we'll build a soul sand valley, maybe in this corner here. Just because this is far too large of a lake to keep existing this way. I have a great idea to solve your money problems. Zombify people selling stuff to you and then cure them so they will lower their prices. Yeah, this is actually what happens when you go into a shop. You go into a shop with like a vial of like, I don't know, like, you know, pick a disease, HIV. You give it to the shopkeeper, and then he's like, "Oh dear God, I'm gonna die." And then you say, "Don't worry, I've got the cure right here." And he's like, "Please give it to me." You're like, You're gonna have to be real grateful. He's like, "Please, I'll do anything." Then you give him the cure, and he's like, "Okay, I know I said this watch would cost 10,000, but for you, man who saved my life and is looking at me threateningly with another vial, I'll give it to you for just 2,000. And boom. Instantly, that reminds me of a friend from mine, blood from stone. You know, Deshi, I want to know, which one of your friends took blood from a stone? I'm very concerned. I have extreme difficulties imagining it. What is your favorite block, ibxtoycat, says Villager Nerd. You know, Villager Nerd, do you actually want to know the answer to that question? Do you think there's an interesting answer coming out of it? Or do you feel like it's a good question to ask because it's a good way to fill some space, and you're hoping that maybe I have some really interesting answer that you just can't think of right now? Because I'll spoil this for you right now. No one has an interesting answer to what their favorite block is. It's not a question that is conducive to good conversation. You might think that it is, but like what would make something a favorite block or not? Absolutely nothing. It is a ridiculous idea. The establishment ruins our lives, then saves us, and we bend to its will. Yeah, I would say that is kind of the gist of things. I would go the opposite way around. The establishment saves your life and then ruins it. If you think about existence with no one else involved, right? If you were born, and then seconds after you were born, everyone else vanishes. Imagine that, right? You would die near immediately. That is a fact of life. Like, this is a fun thought experiment. Again, try to imagine you coming into the world and no one else is around, like your birth giver immediately vanishes too. You would die. Okay, so let's be fair and let's say, well, parenting isn't the system. So you exist in a world and your parents exist in a world, but there are no other human beings in it. It is just you and your parents. Is that world better than the current world? And I imagine for most people the answer is no. For most people, the answer is like, actually, no, I feel like there are lots of other humans in my life that benefit me and do nice things for me. And if you try to use the system more broadly, you could say the system is very, very nice to young people, especially those who don't get a lot from their direct family. The idea of mandatory schooling, this didn't strike me till recently. I saw someone posting their political opinions that, like, isn't it weird that we have childcare for 5 to 18-year-olds in the form of school, but between age 0 and 5, you're responsible for looking after your children. And for some people, that's like, oh, Why? That's ridiculous. Why do you have to look after your own children between age 0 and 5? You know, like I think that's a really interesting perspective. That like, yeah, why does the government step in just between age 5 and it's a weird set of ages. But if you actually, you know, like before we had like public compulsory schooling, schools existed. That's the funny thing a lot of people don't realize. It's just some people couldn't afford to send their children or didn't want to be honest. Like you can, you know, there are very few things you can't afford. There's a lot of things that will break you in some way if you don't afford them. But there's very few things you can't afford. That's the economic model we live in. Is you get to eventually decide to buy most things if those things total equal less than your total earnings, man. What? How did you get there, friend? I'm just gonna fly past you. We're gonna leave you behind, and we're gonna go right back to my bed. As a current university student, that is childcare as well. Exactly, you are in a form of childcare, Caleb Harper. But university students are expected to pay back their childcare directly. And so if you think about the system, it's really nice to you. It raises you. It raises you in this, you know, in this very nice way. It expects nothing from you. As a child, you go to a place filled with resources. There are computers, there are books, there are people there to foster and nurture your learning and to hopefully make you a better person. Not all the time, but, you know, in the ideal state of things, that is what they are ideally being paid to do. And you know what? All they ask in return is show up. And even then, they don't ask show up. They say to your parents, your child must show up, or we will put very strong legal sanctions on you. We will be coming after you, and it won't be easy. Just a warning, maybe send your child to school. And so, with that, you know, when you think about it that way, the system is incredibly nice to people, but at a certain point, so again, if you think about it, like childcare is free from age 5 to 18, somewhere in there, university in most countries is not a public right. In quite a few European countries, it's just built into the tax system. People think that makes it free, but like, you know, like paying back things versus paying back things via taxes just affects the distribution of how you pay for it, right? And given that university students statistically can be one of the highest earning classes of people, kind of messes with on that level. But then at a certain level, the system says, oh yeah, by the way, we've gone from giving you stuff, immediately goes into, now we are taking things from you. Anytime you have something, we get a cut. Just so you know, that is how this works. Would you like to buy some snacks? You gonna buy some crisps at the store? Yeah, make sure you buy us some crisps too. Every you know, we're getting our cut on that. Oh, you want to start a job? You wanna add to the economy of this great place, this great land in which we live? Just so you know, we're gonna want a cut of that too. Oh, you wanna like after you've paid the cut on the things you buy, and you wanna have a thing of this? Yeah, we're taking a cut. There is it goes from that system to exploiting you in that way. And because, you know, it needs to pay for all that nice things it's been giving you. Like, it hasn't been being nice, the system itself. The system is indeed saying all these people are being forced to be nice to you. And, you know, you could also, I guess, kind of argue that, like, well, employers also take advantage of the fact that after you are 18, you are no longer able to, you are no longer given this, like, infinite free provision by everyone collectively. The system stops being so nice to you, and so now they realize that they can be a lot less nice. You know, there is an argument about that, like, yeah, your employer jumps in and they're like, yep, so if you want to have that money that you need because the system runs on it, you're going to have to do a lot of weird things that you don't want to do. And it's, you know, I do see that, and I see why for a lot of people, it's a compelling point. But I think the system is really just a lot of individual things that happen and make sense one by one. But all together, they make a very weird, wild system. You pay for education of the youth who grow up and pay for the education of the new youth and so on. Yeah, in general, you pay for... Because, you know, like, paying for, you know, like, I don't know, your pension, your old age, is something you can do over a lifetime, more or less. People get to a certain age, if they don't have money, then there's, like, all sorts of benefits out there for them. But, like, homeschooling is an ideal right now when most parents don't know how to parent well and can be incredibly abusive. I was homeschooled and I had a few friends and was spanked, choked, etc. Yeah, I found a really interesting. I I think there's a really interesting debate on homeschooling. Okay, so for some people, homeschooling is a system of I guess to put it this way, public schooling, where like you go to a school that is set up by a public body in the government sense of the word, allows you to be put in a system that is guaranteed to be the same for everyone. This is so important in a world where we feel where we barely have any real connection points, where people are at each other's throats based on every single quirk of their characteristic. Like, you look at people and you define them like, oh yeah, I see a blank, 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 blank. Like, we're very, very, very easy and quick to judge in lots of ways. Also, I think I'm going to have like a big flat area over here. I think that's my idea. I'm going to have flat over here, and then this is going to go to the back wall there. So just we have a ledge coming off it. I think it makes for more interesting terrain. That is my idea. Is it a good idea? We'll have to see, won't we? But yeah. So in a society, we have so few things we actually share, because individuality is really important to any decent functioning system and society. And so we might as well say, okay, if we're gonna have a standardized system that every human being's going through, why not have that be for children? Why not have a standardized system that every single child has to go through, and then that system can be the one, that way we all have a similar shared thing. So everyone I've ever spoken to in the UK has learned about, like, the Romans, for example. That you never have a conversation with someone and you're like, oh yeah, well, I guess if you think about it, we're all immigrants because the Romans took over. They're like, the Romans? When did people from Rome come here? Do you, like, we didn't, like, you think there's a lot of Italians in the UK right now or something? And you have to be like, no, like, the people from 2000 AD, the biggest empire that existed. They'd be like, no, really? There was a big empire in 0 AD? Oh, that's interesting. Wow, that was like around the time Jesus was born. It's like, well, actually, they're the ones who killed, Jesus, we're pretty sure. And they'd be like, wow, Jesus is dead? I can't believe, if you don't have a frame of reference to share, you have nothing to share with anyone, right? Like, it's a real struggle to actually talk past a certain point. And so having just some basic shared principles. Another one is like basic maths, right? If someone doesn't know maths and numbers and what multiplication is, how do you do anything? So that's one argument behind having public schooling. Whereas the opposite argument for homeschooling is, do you know who actually is best to teach a child? The people who know a child the best. Who knows a child best? Someone who sees a child for 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, 170 days a year? Or the person who spends all of the other time with the child? But then conversely, the problem with the homeschooling is, what if the person who spends most of their time with the child is a manipulative, vindictive, crazy human being that shouldn't be allowed to have children? Well, then you might say, well, if there was someone like that, we have systems to take children away from people who are like that. But then you could say, well, how often do those things work? The fact that every single day there are people who have bad. Also, Darren Hughes' wife. Thank you. Are you really Darren Hughes' wife? How do I verify that fact? Thank you so much for becoming a channel member. Appreciate it a lot. Water's so good. Yeah, I'm drink a lot of that. Yeah, thank you. This is... I need to know Darren Hughes' wife. Are you Darren Hughes' wife? Are you a Darren Hughes' wife in the set? I need to know. Anyway, so 165.25 years a day. Exactly. Yes, she is. Ah, that's crazy. Good to see you. Thank you for joining the coolest cat club. Also, I hope you're doing well, Darren Hughes. But yeah, with homeschooling, you could argue like, well, to get really technical on these things, maybe just maybe, you could make a really, really decent argument that actually not all the times does do these people get caught, and like shouldn't there be some reprieve from it? Unfortunately, homeschool can be used to hide abuse, but homeschool can also be an amazing opportunity for children to have an individualized program to help them learn best. Exactly, and therein lies the problem in my opinion, is that you can't effectively distinguish between those two groups. But the same is true for so many systems. If you really try to dive into it. Do. Thank you so much for gifting 10 channel memberships, Darren. Hope you're doing wonderful. Do. There are good arguments for and against homeschooling and vice versa. Here in California, the citizenry is more than 25% illiterate, so I don't know that public schooling is necessarily the answer either. I think that's where the debate comes in really interesting, is that it really quite heavy, is that realistically, the answer to what is the best schooling system is neither of the ones we have right now. What is the second best? Well, like, I guess it depends on how you want to measure best. But the truth about basically any issue like this is trying to measure unperfects against each other, imperfects, is always going to be a hard one. Trying to measure, one side could posit that public schools is brainwashing, while the other could say homeschooling is brainwashing. Yeah, I think basically any time someone tries to teach people things that you don't agree with, it's brainwashing. Right now, me having the opinion that brainwashing exists is me brainwashing you into not believing that people can have free will and agency to decide what they hear is true. This is something that YouTube believes. If YouTube believes you are watching videos about conspiracy theories, they put a giant disclaimer on there saying, don't trust this, read about the NHS instead. Read this website, read this. They say, no, you are reading incorrect piece of information, you cannot be trusted. And so YouTube believes that brainwashing is strong, whereas I'm coming down on the opinion of saying, actually, maybe brainwashing isn't strong. Am I just brainwashing you into believing that, though, so that you'll be more easily brainwashed? You'll never know for sure. That is the true reality. So, yeah, the progress today. Thank you, by the way, one more time to Darren Hughes. 10 gifted memberships. Absolutely incredibly generous. It's so good to see you, as always. I hope you're doing wonderfully today, Darren. It is 1:30 a.m. in the UK, though. And I'd like to say we made some nice progress here. I think we should make a Soul Sand Valley and do some early steps on covering this in lava. We're gonna need to set up a temporary dripstone farm, probably quite a big one for that. I guess we could do that somewhere around here, actually. Let's find a good spot for it. Chat, where in this world do you think would be good for a dripstone farm? Okay, so we'll go to sleep. Sucks to firework around and do it, but we'll do it. You gotta wash your brain sometimes. You don't want it to be dirty, do you? Exactly. We all need a bit of brainwashing sometimes. And at some point, you get to decide what goes in your brain. Like, so many people would be like, oh, this person's so dumb, they just listen to this thing. If they just listen to something real, they're so smart otherwise. But they're smart enough to know that listening to that thing gives them the beliefs that they would like to hear. In the same way that people would argue you're being brainwashed for what you listen to. And if you listen to IBxtoycat, the most important thing is you're being brainwashed into not having a house fire. And isn't that important? See, I'm thinking what we could do is we could set up like a little cave somewhere around here. Maybe over here. I think this being lava would be kind of a waste. So we could set up this as like a giant dripstone facility, which we could then later build over. But that would allow us to have enough... I guess getting all the lava together for the cauldrons, getting all the iron together for the cauldrons might be expensive. But I think that is a good plan. And so that is my big plan. Set up a huge thing down there. And that will be the next thing. So Soul Sand Valley, a bunch of lava, and slightly higher walls are the next steps. But we are making big progress. And I'm looking forward to it. If you're curious, this video is currently titled Episode 2. But it's actually like 11 in the series you can watch more of. And if you're also curious as to how I make these videos, what equipment I use to do what is in my mind a dream job, then you can click the link down below. And according to our preliminary results, it will take you to the exact place, the exact Amazon site where you can purchase it. I actually have used both the US and the UK's Amazon, so that's where I buy my gear from. But my stream cam, my stream light, and indeed my stream deck go a long way to helping these streams. Look at this, I can add a member, and then I can remove a member. Oh, I can't remove. There we go, we did it, perfect. I think that's a lot of fun. In 400 BC, you'd hear this type of talk from philosophers. I hope you enjoyed my philosophy sermon then. The next one might be longer, or it mightn't. We'll find out when it happens. For now, thank you very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Do you like my world? Because if so, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.